Good. The systems are go. So hello and welcome to Gavra Racing's GT3 series here at Silverstone. I was about to call it Brands Hatch for some reason. I am CypherKnight77.
I am Dutch Muso.
And we're here to bring you live, unedited, broadcasted coverage of these guys for the final time this season. And what a season it has been.
Yeah, there were a lot of rises and falls of quite a couple of drivers and teams.
Yes. Today the championship can only come down between two drivers, one of them being Dalavan in the Cadillac, the other one being the McLaren driver of I swear I'm not getting this right.
It's Lonnie, isn't it? Who
no.
is replacing...
Yes, but his name eludes me for some reason.
Johnny?
Yes.
Lonnie John.
Yes, so Lonnie will be replacing our second and championship contender today, which will be very interesting. He's got the whole world in his hands right now.
Well, he has to actually do pretty well. I think he just has to finish in front of Dalavan.
Well, not quite.
And,
if you remember, because replacement drivers only get half point standings.
Yeah, that is true.
So Lonnie has to not only pretty much win, but Dalavan has to not finish well.
But if they do end on a tie, Johnny will win on countback, as Johnny has got 4 wins and Dalavan has only 2.
That is true, but Dalavan has more or less been solid all season, except barring his one-off race last week. So, but he is currently leading this practice standings as we stand right now with a 2:01. But that is on the Drivers' Championship side. The Constructors' Championship, I believe, has been locked up by Audi going into this race.
Yeah, it's more than 50 points difference, and that means that nobody can take it.
Yes, so congratulations to Kaz and Kev for their compatible duo this season, once again. But
yeah,
still,
they quite helped each other a lot, because it does seem when one didn't do all too well, the other was, fighting for podiums, so they definitely cancelled each other out, so some races.
Of course, but this is still the last race of the season, and still plenty of chances for multiple people to get, one last shot at a podium, or even a win if possible. There's still plenty of opportunities for everyone there. In terms of other known switches today, as you can see, Alochamps subbing in for Mike today in that Mercedes car. Evo once again in the Nissan for Bowie, along with Toby in the other Nissan. Then Spectro, like I said, still in the Porsche as well. So just some notable ones. And I believe, barring the Bentleys, the Janettas have also stood out of this race. Yes,
Well, Joe's in, but yeah.
Right. Barring one Bentley, excuse me.
But I do feel like the Janettas did have a pretty meh season. And they're in 5th right now out of 8th, so they are on the lower half. But I think that is really one of the things, though. It was just down to luck in their car. Sometimes they really couldn't battle some of the guys in front of them. Even though their lap times were quicker, they just could not get past because the straights, their cars just had no top speed. And then, they were caught in some unlucky incidents as well.
That is true. They were able to manage to get one win, or 2 if you calculate that. But, no, just one win, excuse me. And quite a number of podiums, but they were never really able to take the fight to the front runners.
Yeah, and I mean, Flip's race, if you look at some of the other standings, not a lot of people did very, at least none of the top running people did very well at that race, at Spa. But you know, a win is a win, so.
That's true. But now we are on to the final qualifying session of the season. So, like I said, once again, all eyes are on the Cadillac and McLaren driver. Because, as just demonstrated last week, qualifying can definitely go a long way for a driver's chances. Since Lonnie is the first one out, with the Cavs falling behind him. Still, Lonnie's definitely not one you can write off just yet. He's a very fast driver, and I believe he can actually take the fight to Dalavan if the problems from last week still persist. But I think all Dalavan really needs to do is keep the car under his own power and just keep going.
I mean, he only has to outscore Lonnie by 2 points, and then it's his championship, so obviously it's not the race you want to not be at for Johnny, but, you know, if you can't participate, you can't participate, but I think this will be quite the exciting race for Dalavan.
Oh, there's our second Bentley entering in just now. Since Jukebox is here, so only the Janettas, I believe, exited out of this race. But we'll go on board Lonnie to give an onboard shot of the Silverstone circuit, a very iconic track in all forms of racing, really. So maybe you can give a better description than I can.
Let me just quickly we have the first corner here, incredibly quick as you go through there. As you see, 180 kilometers an hour. I don't know how much that is in miles per hour, but corner 2 also flat out, going to this hard braking area here, to turn 3. Now you have the small slow complex, which will be quite important as it does set you up for the upcoming straight. This corner here should be full speed. It's almost full speed. And this will be one of, at least I think, one of the biggest overtaking possibilities. If you come in here and then it's whoever goes onto the brakes later, as you can actually overtake around the outside there as well. Then again, another good place to set up an overtake. Just make sure that you don't mess up the exit. And you have this long straight just before the Maggots-Beckett's complex. And Cops, obviously. Of course, I mean. Cops, a very quick corner, almost 190 kilometers an hour as you go around there. They do want to try not to run wide there though, as that could get them in a track extension. These corners here are very tricky, very quick as well. You just want to make sure that you do not mess them up if you come out here. A good area to catch up to the car in front though, if you, dirty area did mess you up through Maggots-Beckett's. And then the area where last year with F1 we saw Sebastian Vettel getting overtaken by Max into there and then getting punted off here. So this last little section here, very slow as you go around there. But then this last corner is full speed, and that is a lap of Silverstone.
2011. It's already really quick for him. A few drivers back out of their lap, including Bechtro and Kaz. But across the line second, with Alochamps locking in a 203, Dalavan across the line, a 201.2. Very close times at the top. A few more drivers coming in. Evil sits in a 203 and Hondax with a 202. But right now at the top, the standings between the two potential championship leaders is separated by 1/10. Of course, Dalavan doesn't have to do too much except finish in 4th, all things stand. few more drivers across the line. Toby only going 6 with a 2:03. Champs also setting a time on the board. But as you can see, it's a very long lap around this circuit, so these drivers don't have a lot of time to set in good laps. They really can't afford to mess up their time either.
I do notice though, around Cops, Dalavan goes almost 20 kilometers an hour slower.
It might be a handling or a confidence thing for the Cadillac. Saw how well Lonnie was able to help the McLaren into the corner, actually. But he is a 9/100th up, so he is on a faster lap. To find back 600ths though, coming into the last sector.
I'm actually interested to see if Hondax can maybe get his first podium today.
It's true, Hondax currently sits third right now, so Dalovan's lap is faster, but is it fast enough? Not quite, actually 200ths down. Yes, Kev.
I'm actually going to check Hondax. Where's Hondax? Ah, he's just passed it. So I actually want to check some other people, how quick they take Cops. Still be here.
Kev's now going to set time in 5th place with 2:03. Kaz off on his first time as well as Joe, so they're going to go around one more time.
So Toby going even slower though. Someone behind him close. Cass maybe? Relatively close. I want to see what the Audi can do around Cops.
Kaz sliding it in. She's surprised he kept the car under control there, but it slides it again to the next complex.
Yeah, I just got on the grass a bit over the curbs and...
I don't think there's enough time for him to go back and get a new set of tires looking at the time limit. If you're not out now, then you might as well call it quits. So I believe qualifying is over for Daza and Joe. Jukebox and Retro. Take it that bad.
As Kev calls it quits in 4th.
Jukebox and Vectro left to set a time. I wonder if they're going to be able to set a time around this time. How many times I said that? Evil has also finished his lap. Jukebox across to start his lap.
Vector also going about, what, 180, 190 around Cops? I think Vector could put up quite a fight against Dalavan and Lonnie.
Ooh, Champs goes and beats Hondax's time. He puts himself into 3rd. Dalavan has actually called it quits. His time is only 300ths off of Lonnie, though. So if all things stand, Lonnie, Johnny's replacement for this race in the championship fight, will secure the pole. Still a few drivers left out there. Toby, Kaz, Vectro now coming to the line. Let's see if it's enough to get him up the grid. Across the line, and it's 6th. It's pretty middle of the run for Vectro, actually. But he's still trying to recover from last week's race. I think he just kind of barely missed the setup on that Porsche. Lonnie comes across the line, no improvement, and so he stays in pole.
Look at Dalavan's time though. That'll be a bit sour.
He doesn't have to do too much, like you said. For now, his spot is good, but anything can happen in the race.
I mean, I think for Dalavan right now, it's just, get through first corner as clean as possible. And as long as he can, I always like to think this track's its first corner is notorious for first lap incidents because it's quick, so people are going to try and get through there as quick as they can.
Jukebox sets in his time at 2:07, so only up to 11th. Well, he had a few small incidents, but could still maybe be Alo Champs if he's quick enough through this sector. Speaking of which, Alo Champs is out and Kaz goes and sets third, and Hondax decides not to continue his lap. So right at the depth of it, it is Lonnie from Dalavat and Kaz, your top three, followed by the Mercedes duo of Alo Champs and Hondax. Kev Sinel, Vectro, Evil, Toby, and Daza rounding out your top 10. So this is what we have to go on for the race.
We do have 3 different manufacturers in the top 3, though.
Alright then. Once again, everyone must abide by the fuel regulations and such. So here we go. Lonnie, Johnny's replacement, 1 point ahead of Dalavan, who sits in second place. These two are your championship watchers to keep an eye on out for this race. Kaz, he currently sits third on the grid and third of the standings, so he'll be looking to finish it off with another win. Alo Champs replacing Mike for this race. Can he get the podium for Mercedes today? Hondax going in for one last try to get his first podium, even win today. Kev sitting 6th to seal in the Constructors' Championship for Audi. Vectro starting 7th, but he's looking to make some moves early. Evil starting 8th in that Nissan there, hoping to make his way up the grid as well. Toby also beside him in that Nissan, looking to do some good work here again. Daza with the top 10 starting. Let's see if he can get up more further up the grid. And Jukebox and Joe, the Bentley duo, round off the last row of the grid. As I stated, both Janetta's out of the starting of this race, so it'll be a 12-man starting grid. The point standings are Johnny sitting on 218, Dalavan starting on 217. It's all to play for here at Silverstone.
But I mean, if you look at Johnny's first leg against his second leg, the points difference is astounding. In his first leg he got 44 points, and in his second leg 114. That's exactly 70 points more. But as we get to the starting procedures,
for red lights for the final time in GT3, and we are off, and that's a terrible start from Lonnie. He gets absolutely swamped by Kev. Actually, both Mercedes make contact. Actually, that's the Mercedes of Alo Champs. He comes back into the field and gets clobbered by one of the Audis. That might have been, or there's more contact with the other Audi, and the Nissan of Toby is off. But through all that calamity, Dalavan has gotten through. Lonnie has actually dropped down to 5th. And it's actually Kaz who now sits up in second place. Lonnie actually now down to 6th place. So we talked about getting off the grid. He was the leader, but he absolutely did not get off the starting line good at all, and he got absolutely swamped. This allowed Dalavan to carry away from the rest of the grid as they all tried to scramble behind them. Got both the Nissans and the Bentley battling behind them. Easy start it's been, and still fighting. It's actually Alo Champs getting back at the grid as he loses his spoiler after hitting Jukebox.
that was a bit reckless.
Oh, and just in front of them,
Toby.
Evil. Or Toby, excuse
Oh,
me.
yeah,
You're right.
that's Toby.
Toby spinning off of that. Well, now Hondax he sits behind Kev and Vectro, who's already up in the 3rd place with his start. Vectro got an amazing start. Dazzle's teammate also got up the field really well there. Let's see Lonnie just in the background of this battle for third place. Vectro fighting against Kev. Still an insane start to this race. It all kind of started with the well, first Lonnie did not get a good start, and that kind of backed up the field, actually caused contact between Alo Chumps and Hondax. Alo unable to save the car, came back into the field, and I think collided with one of the Audis. But here you see Hondax trying to recover from that. Goes up the inside of Kev. Ooh, and contact you can see there. She pushes him off.
Kev does hold the position.
Comes into the pit lanes for repairs, and actually it might not even have been an Audi that I think made contact with Alo Champs. It looked like it, but maybe it was a missing maybe.
I can go back and check out in slow-mo.
While that's happening, Alo Champs and Evil have gone into the pits early, so damage repair for those two teams. Still trying to make some moves on Vectro. But while all this is happening, Dalavan is just able to cruise away. Now that some of his important competition is far behind him.
No, the Mercs made contact.
Well, I know, but it was after they made contact. Because Alochamps spun back in the middle.
Yeah, Alochamp spun because he hit his teammate.
Meanwhile, while that's happening, Kaz has actually acquired a track limits penalty. In second. It's still on the back of Vectro all throughout Maggots, Beckets, and Chapel. She might be looking to make a move in the final part right here.
This might work in Hondax's favor though. These two keep backing each other up, he might be able to just snap up a free position.
Lonnie, of course, still needs to get a move on back from 6th place. He's got a lot of work if he wants to get back up there and fight. Oh, Vectro closing the door on Kev. That's actually made Vectro slide a bit through that turn. He catches himself, but comes out right behind Hondax and Kev.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to say who's at fault for that because it was a racing incident, but Vectro didn't really seem to leave much space there.
Either Vectro didn't see Kev making a move at the inside or tried to stop him from getting any further. But either way, now Hondax has actually tried to get into the back of Kev, but finds himself losing some time.
Yeah, I think Vectro just didn't expect Kev to be there and turned in as he normally would for the racing line. There was a Kev there. This could actually be Audi's best finish. Well, his second best finish then, since combined.
Well, actually, no, they got a 1-2 at Burner last week.
Yeah, but he got reduced points.
Right. Either way, while all this is happening, said Dalavan is still the leader and the championship leader. About 2 seconds off of Kaz as things currently stand.
Do you think some people have spun here?
Daza. Actually, Daza and Joe might have had a small incident because that's allowed Jukebox to catch back up. I was about to compliment Daza for getting up into 7th for now, as Vectro has decided to make an early pit stop.
I didn't see him touch the wall, but his tires might have heated a little bit, and then it is nice to get into the pits, cool them down, and then he won't have to pit for the rest of the race. So.
But it's back with Daza now defending from both of the Bentleys. course, Jukebox was able to catch up to his teammate Joe. I'm not sure if there was contact between them, but it certainly has closed in the distance between them.
Well, they did stop Joe and Dazzan. So they might have had something, or one spun and the other saw it and panicked.
Still, I mean, I'll just give my compliments to everyone who has been available to race throughout this entire season. I mean, it is pretty grueling to commit yourself to such a schedule, but somehow...
I think someone spun first corner.
That was Toby. That actually kind of worked out for Vectro, because Toby hadn't spun, he would have come out directly behind him. This worked out in Vectro's favor if he went for an early pit stop to get out of traffic. But yes, as I was saying before, just a thank you to everyone who has joined us watching over this incredible 12-race series, watching everyone do their best. It's always just a pleasure to bring this wonderful broadcast to you fine people out there, and most definitely guarantee that we have ourselves a lot of fun on this show. Ooh, it's Daza spins to Chapeau, and Joe goes off as well.
I think Joe got spooked by it and just hit the brakes and just went straight on.
Oh, it's spins getting back up to speed.
I think someone called Laurel and Hardy.
But back to the front actually with Hondat, because he's actually losing quite a bit of time to Kev. He's actually starting to set in some really fast times now that he's gotten ahead.
I think this could definitely be a track to watch for spins though, especially with the corners Hondax is going into now. People just trying to maximize it, get as much on the curbs as they can, and then if you go too much you end up on the grass. And I don't know about your tires, but my tires don't really like grass.
Unless you're a rally car driver, I don't really see how anyone...
I mean, even then, if you've got 2 tires on grass and 2 on track, your car's not going to be very stable.
Now that everyone's kind of spread out for a little bit, you can take a look at the fuel situations going on. So as per usual, the Bentleys seem to have a lower sort of excess of fuel. Which actually, that's a pretty interesting thing to note over the course of this season, that the Bentleys and the Nissans have sort of an increased fuel consumption.
Which to me is a bit strange, because their revs don't even go that high.
We always see them either have lower fuel than other people or having to pit a bit earlier, and that has cost them some races in the past. Daz is still fighting on the back of Joe for 6th place. Vectro coming up to this battle as well. Once again, did not expect it. Ooh, Joe actually having to take evasive action to cut through, as Lonnie actually decides to make an early pit stop this time. I'm curious, are people just making early pit stops for the sake of it?
I mean, Lonnie didn't seem to have much damage, so...
I should say he comes to an important part, because now Vectro is coming up to this battle. He has to get around all this traffic pretty quickly. He might actually get out in front of Lonnie. Goes up the inside of Jukebox, now going up the inside of Joe. Just got to overtake his Porsche teammate of Daza.
I think these guys are pretty much just letting him through, as they know they can't really fight him.
Does this remind you of anything? LMP2 maybe? But actually he's not able to get in front of Lonnie, so in the pit stop phase, Lonnie overtakes Vectro.
That is actually important, because that's one person Lonnie doesn't have to fight for now or against. And if Lonnie's strategy is actually paid off, he could gain quite some spots or maybe actually go for contention of the championship again.
The gap is still roughly around 2 seconds, although Kaz is maintaining his distance to Dalavan. But I think a lot of people are sort of keeping their eyes on that battle for 6th place. Because if they decide to pit, that's where they might come out in traffic.
I think they actually might come up before that, or yeah, after that, because the pit road here is quite long. Oh no, wait, no, this isn't F1. What am I talking about? Never mind.
The pit lane here is kind of small.
Yeah. Because in F1 it's actually, yeah, because they made it slower, I think. It's only 60 kilometers an hour, so. But here, every track's exactly the same speed, so.
Back with Daza. What was I going to say? I was saying that it's actually interesting that a lot of drivers are actually wanting to pit early for a race like this. The tire wear shouldn't be too bad, but you are still putting a lot of stress on some of the tires going through the fast corners.
Which this circuit has got a lot of.
Obviously overheating is somewhat of a big factor here. But still, I don't think you would want to take tires though, at least not in a situation like this.
I think in some of the earlier tracks we saw tires, or taking tires be a bit more advantageous, but we haven't really seen it since, well, leg 1 really.
That's true. But then again, since then we've been to a lot more smaller tracks, and this is a pretty big track to end off the season on, so. This is taking place, actually I was going to say, aren't you supposed to be like watching the comments?
I'm also doing that, but nobody said anything since quali, so.
I was going to say that it certainly has been quite an intriguing season for everyone involved in this.
Certain races were definitely more exciting than others, but...
Well, understatement of the year, I guess. I don't even have to ask you what your ideal moment this season was.
Long Beach.
Obviously. I mean, there were other things that happened during this season, you know. Well, then again, you weren't here at Brno yesterday, or not last week.
Was it a good race?
Yeah, it was a really good race. I mean, after all, we had a battle for the lead go all the way up to the end.
Okay. Yeah, Zolder was pretty good as well.
Not like there hasn't been memorable moments this season.
Yeah, I mean, Zolder gave us some pretty good races. Long Beach is probably the most memorable for me, just because you said it wasn't gonna happen and it happened.
Oh, Joe! Oh, he slides down the front straight into the wall. So we call getting arrow use right there. But I was saying, now is a pretty good time to go back and sort of recall what we had theorized would happen earlier on in the season. I hate to admit it, but remember when we thought that the Mercs were going to be making a run for this championship?
Yeah, I did, you know, judging by how good Hondax and Mike were doing as a team earlier in the season, I did genuinely sort of think they would be some of the big competitors. I thought the Audis would also be a lot higher up there. I thought the Audis would dominate, especially after that first race with that 1-2, and and then Cass winning Rapuna Park. And then Alton sort of seemed to be an odd race out. Long Beach Cass did well. And I think Leg 2 just really wasn't their time.
Leg 2 turned into the Johnny show, so... We're still not sure what kind of sparked that surge of performance out of nowhere.
From Johnny?
Kind of reminds us of what happened with Razy back in the Radicals 1 season ago.
Yeah, it's almost exactly like that. The first half, he wasn't doing too well, and then second half he was a rocket ship, dude.
Maybe they just decided to put Red Bull in that car instead.
Change up the sponsors.
I could see it, a McLaren-Red Bull combination.
Oh, somebody's gone on there, jukebox.
Actually, I think that was a last-minute call. I think both the Bentleys deciding to pit now, because Daza had pitted. So I'm going to follow him in. But meanwhile, back at the front, Vectro was actually able to get past Lonnie, who had made some kind of mistake. Actually, you can see Lonnie's fallen way far back from Vectro. Vectro was actually behind Lonnie for some time. Yeah, Lonnie's pace has just not been up to par in this sort of mid-section of the race.
There are a lot of people coming out in that first area now.
Hollow Champs got through now, so he's back up inside the top 10. Evil in front of Toby and we'll say Hollow Champs as he actually goes up the inside of Toby. So Hondak's fighting, or not Hondak's, Hollow Champs fighting the Nissan. Now he'll go on to fight the second one as he carves his way back up to the field. But actually, these two have been more or less together ever since they finished their pit stops earlier on.
Hollow and Evil. Ooh!
Very close. If we could go on board with Hollow and see his perspective. I personally really like this dash in the Mercedes.
Yeah, it's definitely very informative.
Well, actually, here's a question. Do you prefer to have your dash on the wheel or just on the dashboard itself?
On the dash, because if I'm mid-corner and I have to look at my dash, I don't want to have to turn my head 90 degrees to see what's on there.
That's a little bit drastic. Something that you don't really think about, but I don't know. Like if you're driving like an LMP or LMP2 or something, like, do you always have that feeling that you wish that all of the numbers and stuff were like in like a stayed spot?
I mean, because the Formula 1 steering wheel isn't bad because you've only got dials on it. And you know, like you've got that little screen, but normally they only look at the screen if they're on straights. But that's what I like about the Williams car, if you're on 2019. Because, you know, they've got the thing behind it, so you can check it mid-corner. Obviously, I do not recommend that, because that's led to me spinning more times than I can count, but...
Practicality, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, while that happened, Alo was able to get in front of Evil, and Hondax has actually decided to pit. So, Hondax pitting from 4th position. He will actually, when it comes out, I think he'll be behind Vectro maybe, and it's going to be really close.
No, I think Hondax is going to come out in front.
I don't know, he's still in the pits.
Yeah, but he's still got this very slow corner to go through. Oh wait, no, okay, never mind. Vector's gonna come out in front. Alt edit delete.
He's just started moving now.
Yeah, it's a bit late on it.
Spectrum now past Hondax. So Spectrum now trying to get back onto the grid. Actually, if he keeps this pace up, he could actually get near the top 3. And actually, speaking of the top 3, Kev and Cass got really close to one another.
Wait, what happened? Oh wait, no, Kev was... Wait, how did Kev get in front of Cass?
I think Kaz might have made a mistake somewhere, because he's falling about a few seconds off of Dalavan.
Yeah, he was only 2 seconds off. I think he might have gone off somewhere.
No matter what race it is, you always see these two Audis fighting one another.
Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc.
It seems to be a reoccurring trend in pretty much anything Gavra related if you have these two in the same equipment.
The two Dutchmen fighting over which one's going to be Max Verstappen.
I don't think this world can handle two Max Verstappens.
Exactly, that's why they're fighting. And whoever wins, the other one gets destroyed because, like, he gets smited because I don't think this Earth has the enough energy to, or enough negative energy to counteract the massive amounts of energy produced by two Max Verstappens.
Speaking of that, Vextro now has a penalty for track limits.
Oh, speaking of that, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say Max Verstappen gets a lot of penalties?
You're the one who brought it up.
No, I just said the world can't handle two Max Verstappens.
Yes. And I thought we were
You're the
ending it
one
at that.
who... Oh, okay. No, I meant more in terms of Max for crashing, but we're gonna pretend I didn't say that.
Yes, I'm pretty sure the Dutch will all figure out where you live.
I'm gonna get DDoS, don't know.
I think that was just a thing that happened like 1 or 2 years ago.
Where people swatted you and DDoSed you. Man, what the internet has gone to now, people just call you a racist.
Hang on 1 second, I'll be right back.
And I'll quickly take you guys through these standings then. So far we have Dalavan on 32 litres who hasn't yet to pit, Kev on 33 litres who has yet to pit, Cass 35 litres who has yet to pit, Vectro 64.9 who has already pitted, Hondax 59.7 has pitted, Lonnie 56.3 has pitted in 7th, Alochamp 65.1 pitted, Evil pitted 82, which is actually quite a lot. I think that's more than needed. Then we have Toby, who I don't know if he's pitted, don't know. Daza has pitted, Jukebox I think pitted, and Joe pitted. Yeah, Jukebox pitted.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think it's only the top 3 and then Toby who has yet to pit.
Az and Kev still fighting. Actually, though. To be fair, though, they've already locked up the team championship.
Yeah, they don't really need to fight now because Kev can't catch Cass in the championships.
Ooh,
and
speaking of
Cass,
that, Kaz.
that is exactly what Lonnie needs right now. Some of the front runners to make mistakes.
Actually, while that's happening, the two Missings just behind there also fighting of Evil and Toby. Maybe around the outside. Ooh.
Evil trying to find a way through. Oh, his Toby goes very wide there. Evil does the same. I don't know if that would be an illegal overtake because they were both off the track.
You never know with this game.
Oh, his Evil cuts the corner quite badly. That will probably be a penalty, as we actually see someone in front of him. Not him. That's Adler, actually.
back onto our topic of conversation. I think the whole stereotype is just a thing that happened 1 or 2 years ago. I'm not really sure.
Of getting DDoSed?
No.
Oh, Max Verstappen.
Yes.
Yeah, he's matured quite a lot. I was surprised by this year. There were no funny shenanigans, except for Spa. I don't know what happened at Spa. I mean, he went for the inside and Raikkonen just was like, how about no? And then people thought Max purposely tried to take Raikkonen at when they got to Eau Rouge. But you can see, like, long before Max has the chance to do anything, his left wheel just is like, bye, have a great time, and just snaps. I was surprised Raikkonen didn't get much damage. I think he got floored then.
He's going to switch back on Vectra now to go up the inside. Vectra closed the door on him though.
There just wasn't enough room, but can he do it here? He's already on the inside.
Oh, Vectra
and he's through! I think Vectra... No, half. It's a small little half. But yeah, that last corner is not really where you want to be getting it wide. 3 wide, 3 wide. Sorry, I just love that from IndyCar. They're going 3 wide, 3 wide.
See, Honda's still putting up a fight against Vectra. Managed to get ahead of him. Lonnie is a little bit further back from these two, but still in 6th place. So I believe Galvan, 2 Audis left to pit. But we're just about halfway through this race, so another moment of reminiscing here with your co-commentators. Remember when we thought the Ginettas were also going to make a run at this championship?
Yeah, it definitely surprised me how we put this neatly. How bad the top speed is, because it pretty much makes them incompetable. You can't race them against other people because you just lose out on any kind of straight. I mean, we saw where, you know, they were in front, they had a good launch out of the exit, and then the person behind didn't have that great of a launch, but they still got in front of them at the end of the straight, and then, yeah. But flip getting that win did surprise me. I did not expect the Ginettas to get a win.
I mean, you could argue it was due to pit strategy, considering he pulled a 1-stop Evans 2-stop. Still was.
Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah. I mean, if you can pull that off, whereas everyone else can't, then you did deserve the win. You know, that's how it works.
Paz is in the pits. I don't think he'll be able to get. I don't think he'll be able to get out in time because Hondax is coming through the first corner right now. Indeed, Hondax passes Kaz. Vectra will also get in front. Ooh!
The rear just steps out a little bit from him. Vectra, though, will have a small advantage here. His tires will be on temperature, whereas Kaz's will cool down a little bit.
I thought that was going to end a lot worse than it did. I thought he was going to slide into pit road and just hit Kaz.
Like the start of the Silverstone Grand Prix IRL, where what's his face, Sergio Perez comes out of the pits and he just sees a car sliding in front of him. Right. Have I told you who I am?
Galvan now into the pits. Pretty much, I think he should be able to get out in front of this group.
Well, he will, 100%. Look where they are on track.
Well, I mean, but Kev still has yet to pit. He is the closest on track to him.
Well, Kev wasn't that much further ahead than Kaz, and Dalavan's already moved. So, I don't know what Dalavan's done, but his strategy will put him a couple tenths of seconds into the lead.
already come out, and the leaders now just in but the rest of the top 3 now just coming into Sector 3. Hondax now leading the charge, but Hondax can keep this up. He will be able to get his first podium of the season. Hard to believe that. Another moment of reminiscing. Remember when we thought Hondax was gonna win a bunch of times?
Yeah. Which also surprised me. I mean, looking back at last season, Hondax was so dominant, and he had a couple mistakes here and there, but he was so dominant, and I think this has sort of thrown him a bit into the deep end, because I don't think he's actually raced against Dalavan, Vectro, a couple of the boys in here, and it did, I think, take him off guard, especially after a couple of the first races. But nevertheless, he's done pretty well to... What have they got? P3 in the championship? Yeah, P4 in the championship. They did well to get that, so...
Right. But yeah, it's just about half of this race gone. In terms of, I suppose, real-world motorsports, so NASCAR is back on.
Without spectators?
Yes.
To be expected. I'm actually surprised that Formula 1 hasn't started up again. Have they actually released their new revised calendar?
I'm not sure yet.
So I think they did say that they were planning to start by by July. They were going to start in Austria, July 5th.
That's interesting. Or is it just going to be like a half calendar? Or like in the game?
A half calendar? I don't even think we're going to hit a half calendar.
I mean,
so I think some races aren't going to go through even after that date.
So are we just going to have like a 5-race championship? Or are we going to pull a WEC and have a championship go across multiple years?
No, I don't think they're going to do that, because if you do well in this season, then we're pretty much just going to see Lewis Hamilton winning by race 3 of next season. So.
I'm just saying,
and Mercedes getting the constructors championship by the end of this season. So.
Saying they weren't already going to do that this season?
Well, I'm saying Red Bull said that they had a lot of improvements, and I'm not gonna lie, Williams in testing, they weren't gonna, be at the top, but they definitely looked like they could throw some rocks into the midfield. And then you have Renault. Let's not talk about Renault.
No, let's absolutely talk about Renault.
Actually, yeah, that is a good point to talk about. Where is Renault? They said they were going to be P4. Where is Renault? Where is their P4? Where were they last season? I'm looking this up. F1 constructors points. Constructor standings.
You sure they were 6th?
Yeah. Let's see. Because McLaren was 4th. Haas was 5th. Yeah, they were... Wait, no, that's from... No, they were 5th. But still, how do you get beat by a customer team?
By being Renault.
It dumbfounds me, because Renault has got what? I think they've got 1.5 times the budget of McLaren, and they were almost half the points of McLaren. It's And then, to me, it doesn't surprise me at all that Ricciardo wanted to leave. Because they said last year that they were going to be fighting for, you know, actual good positions since Spain. Spain rolls around, and they get 8th and 9th. Fighting with the top 6, yes.
Sound like you have something against them.
I absolutely do, because don't say stuff like that if it's not gonna happen. Because I think that was just creating hype for the team. And everyone wanted it. Everyone wanted there to be another team in the top, you know, fighting for the top positions. Especially Renault after, you know, actually winning Constructor Championships with Alonso. And I think all that talk about Alonso coming back to Renault is not happening. Alonso said he's not coming back, and he's not coming back.
Well, I hate to throw them under the bus too, but all you said sort of applied to Ferrari as well.
But that's the thing, though. Ferrari, they finished in 3rd, I think, at the end of the No, they finished in 2nd, but both their cars finished behind Max, which was actually very important, because that showed that with a very capable driver behind the wheel, the Red Bull is stronger than the Ferrari. And I think even Alex Albon showed that. I think, you know, a lot of people have said Alex Albon isn't quick, and I think they're absolutely wrong. Oh, as we see, it's getting quite dark in Silverstone right now. You see the clouds rolling in. Was it supposed to be rain?
I think it's just heavy cloud, but why don't we go on board Kev, see how much fuel he has?
We want to check the clouds. It's time to get clouded. Shouldn't rain, but I think the problem with Ferrari was purely the management. Having Mattia, however you want to say it, didn't help. Having the guy that they had, that's sort of the thing that Ferrari needs to learn. Consistency. Whether it's with the team or with points, consistency is key. And this year, having not just a new team principal, having new engineers come in who have never been with Ferrari before, and not in any of the junior leagues and stuff like that. I know Ferrari doesn't really do junior leagues, but they've got academy teams under different names and stuff like that they sponsor. But you know, bringing in new engineers, a new team principal, and a new young driver, to me, it was set up for havoc. Because you know, having that much new stuff, and then the only consistent thing really being the factory and Vettel. Yeah, it was pretty much set for disaster. And also, a question for you: who do you think the first driver was out of the two?
They even say there was a first driver?
Because no, there definitely was a first driver. There's always a first driver. It's Ferrari. Fernando is faster.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was 100% Leclerc. Because I think even at Singapore, they pretty much just let Vettel do it because he was quicker, and they had a chance of ruining their own race if they let Leclerc go through. Because Vettel was absolutely flying in Singapore. How far was he from his teammate? Do you remember?
No,
I can't remember, but
something like that.
It was more than 5 seconds. It was more than 5 seconds. He was split from P2. And that was his teammate, I think. So that was a fantastic race for Vettel, but the rest of the year, except for Brazil, as Kev comes in now, but the rest of the year was very mediocre from them. Did he get a penalty from that? Because he had to brake hard.
No, he's good. But Dalavan is actually in the final sector right now, so... Right,
this could actually be close. No, this is going to be like what Honda's had. But all in all, last season was very mediocre from Ferrari with how they handled a lot of their situations. And I love how when they got called out for that whole fuel controversy, they were like, no, we have no fuel cheating, there are no cheaters. And then what happened at the next race after they were going to get interviewed and investigated? They were nowhere near the pace that they were. Charles Leclerc barely managed to hold safe. Actually, Kev's gained a lot of time by staying out.
Yeah, not too much. They were only, well, before all that happened, they were only separated by like 4 seconds.
Yeah, 5 seconds. 3 seconds gained in pits. That's quite good.
So everyone's pretty much going to the end. Hondax has more or less, can't remember the word. It's more or less, he's in third now, that's all you need to know.
Yeah. But if anyone anyone watching has any thoughts on the previous F1 season, feel free to put them in the chat and we will discuss them, I guess. But what are your thoughts about the last season?
I don't remember a lot about the last season. My memory's kind of hazy.
That's the thing, though. It was a season, but at the same time, it wasn't. There wasn't much drama or anything.
I think the only thing I can remember was Hockenheim and maybe Brazil.
Hockenheim was. In terms of actual racing, there was none. I don't think we ever saw any actual on-track overtakes, except for when people crashed off. But in terms of it being pretty much kind of that type of race, then yes, it was pretty good. Which I don't get why it was voted or even nominated to be one of the decade's best races, but
because it's entertaining.
But no, it was entertaining for the reason NASCAR is entertaining. You watch it for the crashes.
I don't know. I mean, I can't deny it was entertaining, but I can't say that I forgot about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, believe me though, when I saw Hamilton spin off, my heart skipped a beat. That's how enjoyed I was at that singular moment of Lewis making his first mistake all season long. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a Lewis hater, but at the same time, I'm no fan of his.
It's that thing that happens when someone who you believe is perfect messes up.
Yes, exactly that. Exactly that.
You never expect it. When it happens, oh, well actually speaking of people messing up, NASCAR. I know it's been a while since all that happened, but while all this stuff was happening with quarantine and stuff, you know what happened with they had the virtual races on iRacing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, some were even saying that those races were, you know, really popular for different reasons.
Other than actual racing.
I don't know, I feel like the whole thing was blown out of proportion.
But the problem with virtual racing is there's no consequences. There's no consequences. If you crash, there's no consequences. I think that's sort of why in actual Formula 1 you don't see that many big crashes, because you know if you crash at 320 kilometers an hour, even if that car is fantastic. I mean, we saw what happened with sorry, I've forgotten his name, but the guy in Formula 2 who died. Sorry, I've forgotten his name, but we've seen the sport. It's never truly safe, you know. And whilst we will never reach a point where it's foolproof, because that was a freak accident and nobody can say anything else that it wasn't. But I think, you know, that's sort of the thing that you don't get with virtual racing. There's no real danger to it, so you're not gonna put in that extra effort to be clean. And then you also have all the gamey stuff in like an iRacing bump drafting. Lando.
Well, I was saying, did you hear about the driver who accidentally said a racial slur over the TeamSpeak?
Oh no.
That whole thing got blown out. Probably for all the wrong.
Meat?
Yes.
You thought I was gonna say. I would never. But anyways.
The point is, it happened,
yeah.
and they lost their seat because of it.
I mean, I get why they would lose their seat though, because it's not something that you don't want to be associated with someone who would, in a fit of anger, use words like that.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty obvious. I'm just saying, like, the whole virtual dynamic sort of, the whole thing got blown out of proportion. I believe that was just a freak end result.
But I feel like though, it's like what we saw with PewDiePie. He doesn't mean it in a demeaning or hateful way, like what I guess it was used for during slavery. And I guess you could argue it is used in a way that's supposed to hurt the other person's feelings, whatever. It's not really, it's not meant in a racial way. At least I don't know what ethnicity the guy he was talking about was. But...
Wait, when did we start talking about PewDiePie?
No, I'm not talking about PewDiePie, I'm talking about the racer still, but I'm comparing it to PewDiePie's situation.
I don't know if I compare it.
But it's a similar situation, but with PewDiePie, the big thing was that it wasn't as, I guess you could say, bad for him. It didn't really affect him in the long term too much. But, if you're a racer and you lose a seat because of it, people, that's not something that people are gonna forget, and if you do try and get another seat, it will be harder. Your thoughts on it?
I mean, it already happened and done with it. I mean, you can't say that word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's sort of context that matters in that situation.
I don't know. Did you like the whole virtual racing thing that happened for a few weeks? I don't know. Now that it's
didn't watch any of them because they're boring.
Some were entertaining.
Some were entertaining, but like if you look at the not the Grand Prix that Formula 1 holds, with just a bunch of whoever they can get, that's boring to me because you're not getting people who can drive well, you're getting big names for people who will watch.
I think it kind of worked.
It's the only reason I wanted to watch the Bahrain, not the GP, was because it had one of my favorite streamers in there, Cyanide. And what happened? Cyanide got crashed out first lap, and then I immediately turned off my my phone and went to sleep. Because that's sort of the thing, though. Like once you lose the one person, or a couple of people, once you lose the people that you're supporting for, or you're there watching for, I guess, it sort of becomes very boring. And it's not the same as with actual F1 where if that guy falls out, then I'll just support this guy, because at least me, I don't know half the people who are even participating.
You got Charles Leclerc, no?
Yeah, I'm not going to support Charles Leclerc.
He's better than everyone.
No, because he's a hotshot. He's where Max was 2 years ago. He's a hot rod who thinks he's better than the world, and he's gonna get in a couple crashes, and then people are gonna call him out for it, and then he's gonna get names like Charles the Crashin' or whatever.
Well, they certainly got heated quickly.
But I think that's sort of, it's one of the things that motivates you to be cleaner. I mean, if you look at Max actually didn't like that whole Max for Crashin' the nickname. And obviously, you know, the one way that you can get rid of that nickname is to just drive clean.
I don't know if I'd want to be known as a guy who crashes a lot.
Yeah, exactly, but it's also something that your team looks at, you know. Because they look at how, you know, I guess publicizable you are, or marketable you are. And if you're just known by everyone as the guy who crashes a lot, cough cough Maldonado, cough cough. You know, you're not going to stay in the sport very long, and yeah, I think. But what happened in Brazil was not Charles's fault. I don't care what Sebastian fans say, but it also it was a bit reckless of Vettel to come across like that. But Charles should have seen it coming. It wasn't like Vettel just 90-degreed his steering wheel into him or whatever.
I suppose. I don't really have any opinions on the matter because that was a lot. I barely remember what happened during that whole thing.
Yeah. Also, not gonna lie, it surprised me that Pierre got the podium there, that P2. But also, one more thing about it with Leclerc. Do you remember Suzuka, where he hit Max in that first corner? That to me was the least sportsmanlike thing he could have done. Because then when he came back to lap Max made sure to tell him that it wasn't a very nice thing to do. But Max did it in a very I wouldn't call it sportsmanlike, as Vector was off again in the background. But he didn't do it dangerously, unlike what Charles Leclerc said. Oh, he leaves me no room! Oh, he had a full car length there. But I think the problem with Charles is he's gonna get very good, he's gonna win championships, and people aren't gonna like him because he's gonna be as whiny as Nigel Mansell.
It's happening though. Just 5 minutes, roughly, to bring down the end of the GT3 curtain. As it stands, Galavan, who's more or less had a flawless race.
Yeah, I mean, this championship will probably be going to Dalavan, but you know, it's fair play to him. I mean, he was consistent the entire season through, and Johnny, he really couldn't get a good start to the seasons.
I mean, even still, it's just a shame Johnny wasn't even able to make this race. Who knows what would have happened?
Yeah, but yeah, it's unfortunate for him.
It all kind of started with that start as Kev had a small incident there. Lost a lot of time. One driver who might come out the happiest of all might be Honda, because he's currently sitting in third, on track for his first podium of the season. So he might finally achieve a victory here in the very depth of it.
Yeah, I think this could make Honda quite happy. Because, you know, I mean, if you have a pretty meh season the entire way through and then you get a podium somewhere, it's always a nice feeling, especially in your last race. But I think Dalavan will also be pretty happy to not just win the season, but win the final race if everything goes to plan. Knock on wood, boys, knock on wood.
But yes, it certainly has been quite an up and down season for everyone involved. We had laughs, we had cries, we had fights, we had, I guess, more.
Joe coming in 5th.
Yes, that. We had on-stream meltdowns, we had off-stream meltdowns. Had just about everything under the sun happen this season. And still more to come in the future. Who
I
knows?
think after the race we'll quickly go through the championship standings from top till finish with the amount of points, and then
We'll conduct the final championship interviews, pretty much.
yeah, I'll quickly put that in ready to type, I guess. Right, I have the wrong keyboard set up.
In the future, who knows? Maybe you'll see some of us in these cars sometime coming
Hey,
this fall.
you better join Friday night stuff. That's the only night I can commentate, so you better.
Well, I don't even know what we're doing next season.
Yeah, I won't be able to commentate that much next season because your boy is going to college.
It's not as good as you think it is.
Dude, it's from what I've seen, it's literally just gonna be whatever I'm doing now, but just harder.
Probably.
And more, I guess, in depth than what I actually want to learn about. But goddamn social studies.
I don't have that big of a problem with social. You know, we should save this for our supposed next stream, quote unquote. Because, well, while the curtain may fall on this, me and Dutch will definitely still be around giving you the great commentary that we offer so frequently. Who knows, maybe we'll just have like a small little meetup. Just join in and talk about random shenanigans that don't make any sense. Kinda like what we
Yes, like
did today.
why social studies is the least important subject of any school.
I slightly beg to disagree, but just random stuff
Okay,
like
small discussion, 1 minute discussion. What's the most important to you then?
That's kind of a difficult one. I wouldn't say social studies is the least important, but if I had to say, maybe art? Or are we just
That's the
talking
most
about...
important or the least?
Well, are we talking about like common core subjects, or
Yeah, let's do common core subjects.
most or least?
Least.
I would say English, but I'm not too confident.
Well, I mean, for us, countries that can actually speak English.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. Well, I wouldn't really know, because I've been speaking English all my life.
Well, that's the thing, though. How many... Okay, so Sweden, in average... citizens of Sweden, on average, can speak 3 languages. Swedish, English, and then French, or whatever other language. English people can talk an average of 1.8. Dutch people can talk an average of 2.6. Guess what the average is for the US?
Yeah, you don't have to rub it in.
0.86!
Yes.
You guys haven't even mastered English yet. It's all
Yeah.
the U's you guys keep forgetting.
We'll talk about this another time. Anyways, back onto Dalavan. This is rounding the final sector. It's been consistent all year. Pretty sure he's like the one driver who literally hasn't made a mistake, had like a crash or incident
Bahrain begs to differ.
that I can remember. He comes across the line to not only win the race, but to win this season's GT3 championship. It goes to Dalavan 80 in the Cadillac. Kepsino finished second, a strong run for Audi, and the first podium for Hondax this season in that Mercedes car.
I think he will genuinely be ecstatic.
Kaz rounds out to finish fourth, will round himself off third in championship standings. And Johnny looks like he'll have to stay second, so close, and yet couldn't reach the star that was just dangling in the distance.
But I think if the first part of his season went the same part as the middle part, he would have been untouchable.
Well, then we probably wouldn't be talking about the Audi so much, would we?
Exactly. But yeah, if his first part of the season went as good as his middle part and his ending, then I don't think this would have been much of a competition now.
Vectro finished 6th. Alochamps, the replacement for Mike, would end off 7. Both the Nissans round 8th and 9th. And actually Joe gets 10th ahead of Daza. Had some issues there at the end of it in 11th. Jukebox rounds off the last car off the grid in 12th place.
Wasn't even one even actually fighting for position. Flip Flip and Hondak. So Hondak's has got 5th position. He's take that off of Flip Flip. Razy did not participate. Oh, Bowie and Vectro. So Vectro's actually overtaken Bowie for 10th.
Assuming points and stuff, because remember placements.
Yeah, I'm taking that into account now because Vectro was in front of Bowie, and Vectro's a permanent driver. Bowie, had a replacement for as Evil. But Vector finished ahead and they were on the same amount of points. So. And then UV and Rubert, neither of them participated today, so they will stay on the same amount of points that they have, which is 58 and 58. Toby on, well, I'll just go through the entire list then. So we have Dalavan, who has won the championship with however many points he has. I'm actually not going to say the total points because then I have to work that out. Then we have Johnny in 2nd place. Congrats to him as well. And then Cass in 3rd. Then we have Kev's in 4th. Hondax in 5th. Flip Flip in 6th. Mike in 7th. Razy in 8th. Joe in 9th. Vectro in 10th. Bowie in 11th. UV in 12th. Rubert in 13th. Toby 1 in 14th. 15th is Jukebox. And Dazo rounds off the list on 16th.
So yes, once again, stick around for the championship interviews. Let's maybe get a few drivers in here, talk about how their season went. And yeah, it's finally all over. Just like that.
It almost feels weird.
It doesn't feel weird to me. Just do this again next year. Or in like a few months.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if I can next season.
But certainly there's still all the F1 festivities going on, as well as GT Sport now starting up.
Kev says he will do one, so...
Yep. Alright then, well...
If they hadn't screwed up, she probably would have been out of there because they had put was on that new place.
Right. And
I'm just waiting for Joe to start typing. Joe starts typing, and the world starts trembling. Oh, Vector started on softs apparently, accidentally.
I don't see why that would be an accident.
Well, I mean, I think if you do the softs, if you spin, you pretty much have to change tires.
Well then, let's see if we can welcome in Kev into the championship interviews.
So, Murray Waku, I don't know who that is. Is that Vectro? No, I don't think so. Vectro will do one.
Hello,
Hello!
how are you guys?
We're good, and you?
Yeah, I'm also pretty good. In
So,
2nd place for the last race.
Yeah, and are you also pleased with your standings in the championship and winning the constructors?
Yeah, we won the Constructors Championship twice in a row now. We just dominated it again, like last season, and Pretty happy with fourth. It was a good season.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly had a lot of shining moments, but what moment do you think stood out for you this season?
I think the first race, at Dubai. I mean, first race of the season, immediately a win. Felt really good, but then I had a really downside. I didn't end in good positions after that in the first stint, but that doesn't matter because overall it's a pretty good championship.
Right. Well, hello, Vectro, to the championship interviews.
Hello.
Just inviting everyone here, aren't we? Alright. Well,
Have you had a chance though to put together any, I know the stuff came out about the pit time and stuff like that. You know, the vandalism
Race, I should have won. I should have won that because the drive-through just ruined the race for me. It was a bit of a shame, and I did have third at the end. But yeah, the beginning of the season I felt really confident. 2 podiums, but for the rest, the car just didn't feel good at all. I don't really know what happened. I lost a bit of confidence in the car. And even today, at the end of the race, the rear end was just everywhere. So it could have gone better.
And we also saw that you put on softs accidentally today, so did that affect your race?
Oh, definitely. I had a pretty good start. There was a lot of mayhem, a really big crash. I got actually T-boned coming out of the first turn. I think by Kev actually. I think Kev spun or Cass.
No, I got T-boned by someone because what happened was we went 4 wide on the run down to T1, then we were 3 wide in T1, and then I got sandwiched by Cass, who was slightly in front of me, but just enough to touch me, and then I don't know who was behind me.
I think you slided to the right, and I was also on the right, and well, I got hit by one of you or both of you. Yeah, I got clean out of that, but then I realized, oh no, I'm on the soft tires because I was still on the qualifying setup, and I just put the fuel up. And yeah, I was like 2 seconds slower than normally am. A lot of understeer. It was not normal. That's why I was so slow. And I was just waiting for my fuel to go down so I could pit as soon as possible on the hard. Even though I didn't even know how much the tire pressure would be.
Right. Oh, Dutch, did you have any other questions?
Maybe for Evil Dragon. So you've been filling in for Bowie a couple of races. What do you think of the season?
Well, I mean, I can only say what I've seen is I have been involved in every race and accident, but it's been fun.
Yeah.
That's all that matters, right?
All that matters is fun. Horrible accident at the start of that race, though. Like, coming off the line right behind Vector, following him through. I think it was Allo Champs, someone. A Mercedes flew across my screen, and then I went straight inside of her. And it wasn't nice.
Yeah, the Mercs touched each other. And,
Yeah. Sorry for my teammate as well. Lost the entire front of the car from that, went slamming at the side of him, so sorry for that, my teammate.
Right. Well, you've all definitely have put on a bunch of really interesting performances all season, but what would you say would be the highlights of the season in your opinions?
Finishing
start
that
with
race. That's what I can say. Spa was good, despite murdering Vetro. But yeah, it's been fun.
Kev, your highlights?
My highlights, well, as I said, Dubai was a pretty good race. then I also had some other good races, which I can't really remember now, but I know I had some good races.
Yeah, you
No.
won at Brno.
Yeah, but
Imola you came.
I didn't deserve that win, because what happened was in the hairpin, I can't, you can call that a hairpin. What happened was my right rear tire locked up, so I went to the right, and Dijkrox was there, so I pit maneuvered sort of, and yes, I got an RRP2 penalty because of that, so I got what I deserved.
You got jokered.
And,
Anyway, yeah, it was overall a really good season, and it's really nice to have you guys commentating on it.
well,
Always
actually,
make a great show of it, and
well,
thank you
congrats
guys.
on the Constructors Championship.
Yeah, thank you.
Vectro, what would you say was your highlight?
Being allowed to race, that's the first one. And I think for the rest, I think the first race, well, the first half of the race until I got the penalty, that was the best
Imola.
race so far. Yeah, Imola. That was my best race so far. In total, actually. I was really happy with the pace we had. Later on in the season, it all went down a bit. I don't know why. I just didn't focus on it enough, I think. For the rest, I don't really have a lot of highlights because I can't really speak for the beginning of the season.
Well, it was always interesting to watch how slidey your car was.
It was so slidey. It was unrealistic, to be honest. I didn't know what happened because I should be able to keep Lonnie behind me on a normal car, but when I went through Stowe, I think it was, the car just, I don't know. Even when I go on the throttle, the rear end just went, and the temperatures were fine. So I've got no clue what happened. Actually, no clue.
What was your enter-roll bar ratio from?
I don't actually know. I don't actually know at the back of my head. I did fiddle around a bit with the preload. Maybe the preload did some stuff that this is not supposed to do.
Yeah, the entire half of the season you've been Kansai drifting your way around some of the corners, which has been pretty spectacular to watch. So thank you for that.
It is spectacular. You're welcome, but it's not fun. It's not fun when you want to be fast.
I think some of them might have needed a new change of underwear, but
oh dear, yes. Yeah, I think Eva was behind me for one, and he was like, "Whoa, that you kept that is a miracle."
Well, it is the
Well, that was really
championship interview, so let's ask a few more personal questions. Which driver did you feel was the best to race around? Kev, I guess you can start first.
Well, I'll go with Johnny then. He was. I've had some really good fights with him, and it was really fun with him. And I'd like to be with him in the next season, because I think we are both on the same pace. Really, well, he was faster by much in some races, but in races like Imola we were really close, and it was a good battle there. That's what I can remember. We battled for half an hour.
Right.
Until we went into the pits.
Vectro?
I don't know which one was the best to race with, but I do know which one was the most tense to race with, because we had a lot of hairy moments together. That was Hondax. We had a lot of moments together where we right on the edge, where he was really close to me, and he overtook me, and I overtook him again, and it was a bit of a scramble, and that was the most tense to race with. Not necessarily the most fun, because he went a bit angry at me, and I was a bit irritated at him, and it was a bit of a meh. But for the rest, it was fine.
I've heard Austrians can get angry sometimes.
Yeah, well, Dutchman too, so we're on even footing.
Oh, and Evil?
Well, I mean, haven't really raced anyone because I've been last, but my favourite person to race normally is Vetro. And next season, we're going to have some fun in a car that's not a Nissan, because I can't drive a Nissan, apparently.
And I'm not gonna go in the Porsche, not at all.
Alright, bit of a change up. Who was the worst driver to race against? Alright, Evil, can you start us off?
Oh, that's mean. Oh no.
It's the final interview.
The only people I can say, well, I don't really know what was going on, but in that race was it Joe, his teammate, and Vetra's team. I don't know what they were doing in the race, but they were randomly stopping, we'll just say, and I crashed into one nearly coming out of Woodcut, so not best pleased with them. I think Vetra can back me up on that one. There was some very hairy moments.
Yeah, Toby said to me that Jukebox and Joe wanted to give Daza a race because he had some bad moments in this season.
Right. Vectro, you?
Yeah, it's really mean to say. It's not. I don't know them really personally. Well, the only one, yeah, it was my teammate Daza actually. I didn't race with him at all, but I did want to turn into a corner, and he was going really slow, and I lost the rear end because of that. Because normally I have a pretty tight line through there, but I couldn't really commit to the corner because otherwise I would hit him in the rear. So I have to brake mid corner, and I spun, or I half spun, and well, that was the only moment really when I was a bit irritating. But otherwise I didn't really have problems with anyone battling per se.
And Kev?
Well, probably myself. I mean, I was pushing because of myself, and I had some pretty bad crashes because of myself. But in terms of other people, I don't really have anyone. I mean, actually, everyone was a really good driver, and I can't remember any bad thing happening. But that was caused because of another driver.
Right, great. Dutch, did you have a question, or else I'm just gonna go on to my next question?
No, I didn't have any questions.
Alright then. If you could go back and change one thing about this season, what would it be? So, Vectra, do you mind starting us off?
No, I don't mind it. The one thing I could... Yeah, definitely. Imola still stays on my mind. That was the most frustrating moment of this entire season for me. Well, half the season. If I could turn back time, I would be really careful with the penalties and not get it, because I didn't actually know that 5 seconds was the limit. I was like, well, I'm just gonna pull a gap, and going a little bit off the edge isn't that bad. I will just drive those seconds away because I had the pace. I was pulling away, but I didn't know the drive-through penalty was there after 5 seconds. So if I could turn back time, if I got the knowledge, I would be way more careful.
Yeah, those penalties are a killer.
Yes, they are. They also got on the shoulder, and that was a bit frustrating as well.
Evil, a moment you would change?
A moment I would change. Well, I think it's pretty obvious what I would change. It's not going into Nissan. I think it's the only option, and signing up to the season at the beginning, because I do enjoy racing. I haven't been in Gavra for a while. Last time I was here was commentary box. I was doing your job, and now I'm not. Got sacked. Now here.
You make it sound like you got a downgrade. It's like, wow. I used to commentate, now I'm racing.
I think that's the opposite of what most people do, but...
And Kev, what about you? A moment you would change?
A moment I would change? Well, the moment I went with 500 kilometers an hour into the barrier at Long Beach.
Right.
I want to see that now.
Don't know whether it's on stream though.
Who
I don't
knows?
think so.
Does
Well,
anybody know actually when there will be new GT3 season?
Probably won't be a GT3 season, just another season with other championships, other
Okay.
cars, and
maybe until the end of summer, just about.
I hope it will be a good car.
Well,
yeah, there may be a summer league or something like that, or there may be because I've been here for a year now, and the first championship I joined was a summer league. Don't know if they do that yearly, so I'll just wait and see when I get the announcement.
I started here in 2015.
That's a while ago.
Actually 5 years ago. I started league racing in this league on Gran Turismo 6.
Me and Dutch have only been here, what, maybe 2 to 3 years?
I've been here 3, yeah. This year, last year, and then the year before that.
Yeah. Well, actually, it will be an interesting opportunity for the drivers to ask us CoCom some questions. So, if there's anything
If
you
they
guys
have
want to
any.
ask, yeah, if you want to
I'll
discuss
go.
something.
What do you guys think of the championship, and who do you think deserves driver of the championship? Let's go to that.
Well, I mean, isn't the driver of the championship just whoever wins the championship?
Yeah, who do you think has had the most, had the best races and stuff like that? You know.
Probably, in terms of actually, like pulling away and stuff, Johnny. Johnny had some insane... I mean, pretty much every time he's won by big margins.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Dalavan was a close second, though. But
Yeah, Dalavan's had... Well, he's only had 2 wins, though. But I mean, he's been consistent the entire season, so...
yeah.
Yeah, consistency is key.
Yeah, exactly.
Any
And
other-
who was your worst driver?
Geen commentaar. Not gonna say anything.
Just say me.
A worse
Well,
driver?
to be... I don't think anyone did really terribly, though. I mean, we didn't see anyone who stood out to be,
Like the absolute
terrible.
worst. I mean,
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
bad in what way? Like, bad is in results, or is in, like, that they crash a lot?
Yeah, good question. Just bad in overall.
Well, I mean, then technically, we'd have to look at that as a jukebox, because they did score the least amount of points, but, to me, just trying is fine. I guess
Yeah,
that's
and
enough.
it's not. I shouldn't have asked that question because it's not fun to to be called the worst driver of a championship.
But I mean, I think he DNF'd a couple times because, like at Dubai, he crashed. I think once, and he had a really big incident, so a lot of his aero was messed up. And I think if you have a couple incidents like that where it really just ruins your race, then
By the
it
way,
can
how
mess
did
with
it look to you guys in the first lap into the first corner? at the start?
It was amazing because we saw Allo Champs flying across
the field.
the track, and then we saw you flying to the right with whoever else that was.
Yeah, because I was just pushed alongside the track, and I got no damage of it, and I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of people actually got damaged that first incident, I think.
I did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Nissans definitely did.
Well, Toby didn't have much damage. He had 2 at the front and 4 at the rear. So, too much.
I've actually got 2 questions also for the commentators.
Sure.
Go ahead.
What was your best overtake of the season? Probably mine. Last race. 2-1.
I mean, yes, dude, there were quite a lot to pick from. I know which one he would pick, though.
Do you want me to say?
You're the biased one of the group, so go ahead.
Biased? What do you mean biased? I was just happy that Joe got 5th. Is there something wrong with that? Long Beach, by the way. Long Beach was where Cypher said, no, Joe's not going to get 5th. I was like, yeah, he's going to get 5th, 100%. And then someone span out and he was in 5th, and then Joe finished 5th, and it was a glorious moment.
Wasn't that when he got his online wife?
Yeah, he did! Joanna.
Oh yeah, Joanna Matsusita, I think she's called. Yeah. Yeah, she's really, she's a really nice woman. As in... No,
You know what, Joe, to hear that?
No, not really in that sense, but in the sense of, you know... In the sense of, well, you could talk to her.
Context.
Anyway, on to the next question. What was your biggest like shock of the season? Like scare, like oh dear, something has just happened, or like an overtake you didn't see coming, or a crash you didn't see coming?
Actually, where was it? I think who was it? I think it was Suzuka. Wait, where's Suzuka? Wait, did we not go to Suzuka here with you
I don't
guys?
think so.
Oh wait, no. Wait. That was last season, whoops.
Where was?
No Suzuka.
I think Spa was probably, in terms of results, I was surprised that the Audis didn't do so good there. But
Is that an insult?
no, not at all.
No, just joking. I can't remember in what place I finished.
Well, you got 9 points, so.
That was the long race. Yeah, right.
In terms of really surprising, I guess actually, in terms of the entire season, the Genettas was surprising.
It was Zolder.
Yeah,
Zolder,
Genettas were really fast. Race was fast in it, and also, I don't know his name anymore. What the Genettas overall were really fast.
No, they weren't fast at all.
Was that faster?
They had faster races in long race.
They were faster in Spa, but that was by pit strategy. What really surprised us was Spa and then Cass's crash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
See my
He
one.
still got points.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I almost T-boned him.
Right. That
Like
was.
I almost hit the side of him.
Yeah, that was a big moment too. I was saying at Zolder, there was the moment with, I think it was Joe and Flip, and then I think Hondax and Vectra, was it?
Yeah, there was a crash at the start though, also
That was
involving
me.
Evil.
Again. Turn ones aren't my friend.
But you didn't get any damage. You could just go to the gravel.
Right. Yeah, there were a lot of moments.
What was your cheeseburger? What was your best race of this season to watch?
To watch.
There are a few stick-out ones actually.
Zolder was pretty good to watch. There was some good racing there, and it was pretty funny as well.
Long Beach and Algarve were also pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, Austria was pretty fun just because of the rain.
Yeah. It produced some fun.
And Spa was just was just us talking about the Bentley and its stupid fuel specs the entire race.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one way to fill up 2 hours.
It took a long time because that was the fuel strategy race. So we started talking about how different cars save fuel, and it ended up becoming a mess. Well, anything else?
Maybe Evo's got some questions yet.
Yeah, well,
Think
when
that's
are you doing a best Gavra moments of all time video?
We aren't on that actually. I think there is someone doing that every week, but on episode 1 there's none of you guys, which actually surprised me.
No.
There was some pretty good racing that
I want
Yeah. It's all the It's the favoritism toward the F1 guys.
Exactly. I think it is the
Yeah,
guy.
that's true.
F1 as well.
Yeah,
And
it
a really nice
is.
overtake last week.
But I had a really good overtake. I did a double overtake on the back markers. And
Yeah,
then
but that
had
was
a brake
blue flag.
failure.
Yeah, but
Blue
It
flag.
died.
Blue flag. Blue flag.
Blue flag.
yeah, but don't let it get you down too much. Obviously,
Think-
everyone who watches enjoys all of your racing. So.
Hmm.
But yes, once
If you
again,
say so.
don't bring yourself down. You still did very good.
Who, me?
All of you. I mean, you got through the season. That's a lot more than some people can say.
Racy can't say that.
Oof. That's there you go. You're gone. That's it. F.
Yeah.
Get
Kev has
taken out
been
back.
cancelled. Kev has been cancelled.
Get taken out back and shot now.
Well, it's been fun, but it's time that we close the curtain on GT3 for another season. Who knows what'll happen in the coming months, and hopefully we'll be back to bring you even more GT3 and whatever motorsport we are offering the rest of the season. So, once again, we are Gavra Racing, and as of course, as you can see by the colorful personalities here, it's always just a pleasure to talk to you guys. So, thank you once again. I have been CyberKnight77.
I've been Dutch Musa.
Go on, introduce yourself.
I have been Kev.
And I've been Vectron.
And I've been evil.
And we'll see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.